introduce you to the Indian Tabla drums. This is going to give you a brief introduction to what the drums are and how to do the basic strokes and how to start learning the instrument. So the bigger one, which is usually made of metal, this is called the baya, or the bayan, or the duggy, or the dugga. There's lots of different names for the same thing in Indian music, so it can be a bit confusing, but if you just stick with one of those names, then I'm going to stick with baya. So this is the baya. Both drums have a goat skin head and this distinctive black circle called shahi, not actually in the centre for this drum, but this black circle gives the drum the resonance and the characteristic sound that you associate with the tabla. So that's the bigger one. The smaller one, which is actually heavier, pretty much in every case, because it's a solid piece of wood which has been hollowed out to pretty much halfway down. So it's quite it's a heavy chunk of wood. Also has the goatskin head with the shahi, but this time completely in the centre. And again, the characteristic sound is created by this black spot called shahi. You can get all these different sounds, quite a few different variations of the resonant sound. Before the tabla came along, there was a much older drum, which is still very widely used, called pakawaj, which is a bit like, if you imagine these two drums end to end, a single wooden body with a skin at each end. This was the predecessor to the tabla, and the story goes that one day one was broken into two, and then the tabla was created from that, and then there was two drums. Every stroke on the tabla has a name which is kind of referring to the sound that you create when you play the stroke. So there's a spoken word which is called bol, associated with every stroke, and there's quite a few different strokes, and you can categorize the strokes as being resonant or non-resonant. So as an example, tu or tun, this is a resonant stroke on the daya, and there's sustain. Once that stroke has been sounded, you can hear the decay of the sound. It continues, as opposed to a non-resonant sound, which is like a click. So it's an instantaneous sound with no decay. So resonant sound, non-resonant sound. The resonant sounds are generally a little bit more difficult to perfect. So we tend to look at the non-resonant sounds first and then approach the resonant ones after. Okay, so the first non-resonant sound to look at is played with the left hand on the baya, and it's called ke. The drums should be placed centrally to you, so your centre point should line up with the centre of the drums. The drums should be almost touching, and the baya should be pretty much level with the shahi, the black spot, either forwards or forwards and slightly left, and the baya can be level, maybe tilting forward slightly, so that your arm can rest on the edge of the baya and your arm is flat in respect to the top of the drum, and your elbow can be relaxed and your shoulder can be relaxed. So as long as your arm and the top of the drum are kind of parallel and everything's comfortable, that's good. Your right hand should sit comfortably on the tabla or dia. Again, right elbow should be relaxed and loose, shoulder relaxed and down. Obviously sitting up straight will ensure you don't get any back pain when you're playing the tabla. We're assuming here that you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, of course, everything is switched around. The bia is on the right, the tabla is on the left. Okay, so the first stroke we're going to look at is the non-resonant stroke ke, played with the bia. The left hand, if you're right-handed, sits on the drum, and if you put it out flat with your fingers together, your fingers will poke out slightly over the edge. Okay, so if I lift the drum up, you can see fingers are coming slightly over the edge there. You can keep your fingers together or you can have them apart. Lift your hand up at the wrist, so you're resting your wrist on the edge of the drum. Then let your fingers fall, and that is ke. So the heel of the hand is just behind the shai, the black spot. The wrist is resting on the edge of the drum, and you're just pivoting from the wrist. And if you put your fingers together or have them apart, you can hear there's a slightly different sound. But it's up to you how you play that one. There's a non-resonant sound played with the right hand, and this is called te. It's played with these three fingers together, and you're dropping your hand from the elbow, so the whole of your forearm, your hand is falling together with the index finger slightly raised, and it's falling so that your middle finger is landing in the centre of the black circle, the shai. This is te. So when I'm landing, this finger is in the centre of the drum, the other fingers stay together, this finger is in the air. If you were to play two of these strokes together, te, te, then the second stroke is played with the index finger in the centre of the drum also. So we're going from te to te. Second time with the index finger. Te, 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 te. And when you land, you're going to keep your hand in that position in full contact with the skin for at least a fraction of a second, so that you get that non-resonant sound. So we've got ke, ke with the left hand, and te with the right hand. So if we put those two together, we've got ke, te, ke, te, ke, te, ke, te. Don't forget, for your left hand, you can pivot from here. Your right hand though, you don't want to be leaning on the edge of the drum. You're lifting from the elbow. So ke, te, ke, te, and you use the natural weight of your arm or your hand to make the stroke. With your left hand, it's your hand's weight that you're using, and with your right hand, you're using the whole of your arm's weight. Okay. Ke, te, ke, te, ke, te. Ke, te. And when you play this, choose a speed and stick to it so that you keep it in time. You can hear a resonant sound coming from the tabla when I lift my hand. We don't really want that, and you can stop that by using a little bit of talcum powder, which controls the amount of moisture on your hands. Now that sound's gone. Nearly. Okay, so now we can double up those kes and tes. So we've got ke, ke, te, te. So 2 kes and 2 tes. But there's a slight change here because now we're going to play te, same as before, but then the second te with the index finger. So ke, ke, te, te, ke, ke, te, te. You should resist the temptation to speed up. Keep it all at the same speed. Okay, so when you feel comfortable with that, you can put the first one with the second one, so that you get ke, te, ke, te. Play that twice, and then ke, ke, te, te. So that's ke, te, ke, te, ke, ke, te, te.